of misconduct in public office. Now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, he was taken into custody in Norfolk just a short while ago. He is accused of allegedly sharing confidential information with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Mountbatten Windsor has previously denied any wrongdoing over his ties to Epstein. King Charles had stripped his brother of his titles back in October and has since evicted him from Windsor. Let's get back down to CNN's Salma Abdulaziz, who joins us live in London. Salma, what's the latest?
All right, chat. We are back and ready to go. Yeah, Prince Andrew got arrested. No longer Prince Andrew, but he is cooked. He's beyond cooked, chat. Prince Andrew, cooked.
I want to start by asking maybe questions of what we don't know and what we do know so far. So we do know that he's been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office, but there's a lot...
Bro, are we reading off our phone on national television? We can't afford a teleprompter at CNN. That's kind of crazy.
A lot of details that are still missing here, of course.
We were using our phone on national television.
Allegations.
I hardly even use my phone in
by the police. We're
streamer.
talking about a period of time between 2001 to 2011 when he was representing the UK as a trade envoy. But what are the specific allegations, the specific accusations of misconduct? We don't yet know that. What information actually prompted Thames Valley Police to make this...
What do you mean what information? Like, they obviously found something in the Epstein file. It's pretty self-apparent, but whatever.
That's the key question here, because we understand that they have been assessing this claim for some time now. I would say a period of days. That latest trove of emails where we see these allegations come to light has been out for a few weeks now. So what was the trigger? What was the switch? What was it that the police held on to that said, okay, now is the time when we need to take this very extraordinary action, of course, in this country? We also don't know where Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is currently being held. We don't know where he is being held. We simply know that he's been arrested, but we don't know any details beyond that or what the status of that is in terms of his arrest. And we still don't know if he's been interviewed under caution. That's what it's described as in this country. So essentially, has he been asked questions? Has he sat down with a police officer and been asked questions as of
But
yet?
like, how does bro not, like, bro's cooked if he's getting... Can we not do that? Like, where's this coming from?
Any wrongdoing.
But like, okay, but like, bro is so cooked if he's getting arrested as Prince Andrew. Like, I don't even understand like how he can, like, cause it's not like he was brought in for questioning. He was arrested. Like, that's just crazy to me. If we're keeping it real, I don't know. But like, I don't know.
Where has he been asked these questions? What location has he been taken to? What do we actually...
Bro, what are the odds that he knows information? Because I heard today that he divulged government secrets to Epstein. So like that could honestly cook him for life, if we're being honest. That could give him like an espionage charge, but...
No, right now. Well, what we do know is Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, former Prince Andrew, who only earlier this month was forced out of the royal residence, pushed into his brother's residence, the Sandringham estate, which is currently...
Bro, what do you mean push out the royal residence into his brother's estate? That's still royal property if it's his brother's. That's whatever.
Searched by police, has now faced a watershed moment, really, not just for himself, but for the royal family and really for the...
What do you mean watershed? This is much bigger than watershed. I don't know.
At large, being arrested. Now again, being arrested does not mean being guilty. We do not know the specifics here of why...
Bro was pictured with a 17-year-old.
Extraordinary action of
not saying he's guilty, but like I'm saying, that's kind of sus if we're being honest.
Is reeling. King Charles
went to an island
to get ahead of this time and time again. Last year, he stripped his brother of all his royal titles. I said he's pushed him out of the royal residence. He even took this really extraordinary step of preempting the possibility of this happening right now by saying he was willing to support the police in any inquiry that they had. So there's going to be a sense in this country, first of all, that this has caught up with Prince Andrew. He has been long under question, long under suspicion for his relationship with Jeffrey.
Bro, whatever happened to that like third brother, that like Prince Edward, who's just straight chilling? You wouldn't know what happened to him, because like I think about him, like he's not gonna be the king. He just got a family. He's probably cheating on his wife or something. I don't know. But like he's just got a family. He's just hanging out as Prince. And then Andrew's got to go and do this. Like the royal family is just hanging on by a thread, and then he just goes and does this. not a good look for Andrew, if we're being honest. Not a good look.
In a relationship that he appears to have lied about in the past, saying that he ended his relationship with Mr. Epstein once he was a convicted sex offender, so around 2000.
I can't wait until they get the defense, like what defense are going to go for Andrew. Like, he went to the island, but he didn't do any of that stuff. You know, we don't know he did that stuff, even if he went to the island. Like, I can't wait till what bullshit they pull out, like, for his defense. But
now, in these latest email troves, that does not appear to be the case, and it is now clear that he did continue that relationship after Epstein was convicted, and it is that information that led King Charles to strip him of his royal titles, to take these.
Bro, are we just yapping?
Of what's happening here, but again, it has caught up with them. There is going to be also a bit of empathy, I imagine, in this country for his family, the York family, as they are known here. He has 2 young daughters; they're in their 30s, they have their own families. Their faces have been splashed all over the media for the last few days. So many questions here swirling around what is, first of all, a family that represents this country, the monarchy as an institution, and how Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor represented it as a trade envoy. And I did write down some details of the emails that could be in question here. Around 2010, he appears to have forwarded government reports.
See, there's a notepad. That's much more like official than using your phone for notes. Like, she was on her phone on national television live instead of just writing it down. Like, you can't tell me you're that rushed at CNN that you can't look at a teleprompter. I don't know. I don't understand it, but and like, granted, they all do it. All news agencies do it, but I don't know. I think it's unprofessional.
Details of those visits in Vietnam, Singapore, China. There are emails that indicate that Mountbatten Windsor forwarded investment opportunities for gold and uranium in Afghanistan. He had a duty of confidentiality between 2001 and 2011 as trade envoy. Did he abuse the public office?
Bro, you think my teeth are bad enough for me to live in England? Because like, I wouldn't mind moving to a place where they arrest people who hung out with Epstein. Not gonna lie. Like, do you think my teeth are bad enough to move to England, or like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I kind of think they are. Kind of think so.
Did he violate government information? Did he violate the pact for confidentiality? That is the question the police are asking.
Bro's going to go to jail for violating confidentiality, not for being a PDF.
So this is the kind of story where it generates a flurry.
So you're telling me this guy, Prince Andrew, is going to go to jail because he told Epstein some secrets about the government, not because he was a PDF? That doesn't make much sense to me. Like, he had a little bit of a gibbet of a jab, but like, I don't know. Seems kind of weird, but like, you think they would have like a little bit more priorities that he was like pictured with like kids? Like, you think they'd have a little bit more priority that one of the royal family was like a PDF? A little bit more priorities, but I don't know.
To put together what they know now. Can you remind us the state of play here in the U.S.? Right now, it's the House Oversight Committee, right? Like, who is investigating what at this point?
Well, that's a question that we don't actually know the full answer to. The House Oversight Committee is pursuing some depositions with the former Victoria's Secret owner, Wexner, did a deposition yesterday, but also there's this whole the question
and he's
of
a major donor,
yes,
which is why people are focused on him.
And the question of whether Bill and Hillary Clinton, what their testimony will look like, that's been going back and forth, but is expected in the coming weeks. But I think that the
Bro, this guy is out of his mind. There's a lot more than champagne in that glass. Oh my god. What is... Bro needs to be locked up for being ugly. Like, oh my god. Like, one thing being next to Epstein, but that smile is just diabolical. Oh my god. That's a crazy smile.
thing that is notable here,
dude is up to mischievous actions if he's smiling like that.
Is that so far the fallout
up to
from
no good.
The Epstein files, which by the way have still not been fully released despite the law that said that they needed to be. The fallout is...
Bro, don't... I don't know. I was going to say something about, like... I don't know. I'd rather it take slow time to make sure they're redacted, but I don't know. But whatever.
Been not in America, not in American politics in ways that people have really been feeling the kinds of results that have been happening in Europe,
yeah.
Or people even stepping away from business dealings in the United States. There are a lot of political figures who keep coming up in these documents.
Yeah.
Documents are not necessarily things that implicate guilty behavior, but we have from the Justice Department from the beginning this statement that there was nothing to follow up on in terms of criminal investigation. We just don't, that statement coming at the front of the release when we see that other things have been followed up on.
I want to add one more thing to that, because Prince Andrew in the past has denied the allegations of sexual abuse from people like the late Virginia Giuffre. I just want to read something just because the paper happens to be in front of me. New York Times, they're talking about the Commerce Secretary Lutnick, and they mention that it says he's not the only prominent Trump administration official to appear. The records show that RFK Jr., obviously of DHS, once went hunting for dinosaur fossils with Mr. Epstein. An email file shows that Dr. Mehmet...
Bro, why you went dinosaur hunting with Epstein is just everywhere. He went dinosaur hunting? That dude's got motion.
Who's at CMMS, invited Mr. Epstein to a 2016 Valentine's Day party. None of these things are criminal.
Not a Valentine's Day party I would like to
also
go to,
part
if we're
of
being
this
honest.
Dialogue that says the elites, there's an elite out there, they're all buddies, they all hang out with each other, and they accrue the benefits of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, in 2016, he was a convicted pedophile. Why are you hanging out with this man in general? And I just am hard pressed to find that people didn't know that of his behavior. And then they also lied about it, and they lied to the American people. Lutnick actually lied to
How we
people.
doing,
I had
Grace?
nothing to do with it. And then he's like, "Oh wait, I did have lunch on the island." It's like, who do you believe anymore at this point? I think you're
Bro,
the
going to an island is such out of the way. Like, I don't get how these people are like, oh, I forgot I went to an island with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, you're telling me it's such an out of the way thing to do. Like, you have to go to like a different country basically to get to this island. I don't know. Like, it's not like you just stopped in New York and you like saw him on the subway or some dumb shit. Like, I don't know. It's so out of the way. So like, people are just absurdly lying. I don't know.
American people, I think, are so interested in this because of the power dynamic, because they see that they'll never be able to get ahead. They're not in these elite circles. They're not in this weird class of people that do things. And
I once heard something about this. Basically, these are the kids from high school who were like the government, like the debate kids, the kids who didn't really fit in during high school. So they wanted to fit in so badly that they, with the cool kid crowd, that they basically would like divulge government secrets. They would do really weird things because they're like the weird kids in high school who go on to be government majors and stuff like that. So that's who's running the country. That's who's becoming like the weirdos and powers and stuff, which it made so much sense when someone told me that. I'm like, that does make sense, because like you get the businessmen who are like the charismatic people, like Donald Trump probably, or like just rich guys that were probably the guys who are like popular in high school. Then you get the government people who are they just want to be liked, so they do whatever it is to be liked. I don't know. But like, when someone told me that these weird Epstein people are just people from like the weirdos from high school, like that made so much sense. If we're being honest, it made a ton of sense.
and aren't held accountable and get to play by different rules.
But I also think another thing that sticks out to me when you read through the different revelations that have been coming out of these files is that I think a lot of Americans think like, oh, there's Republicans and there's Democrats, but actually among the elite, they're not really as different as you think. And these are files that include everyone from Naomi Campbell to Steve Bannon going and allegedly hanging out on this island. And so it's like, wait a minute, this elite is like, it's different than like right versus left.
That's where it plugs into the bigger political
Bro,
thing
it's
going on
the
here.
rich
It is
versus the
crazy
poor,
that-
if we're being honest. Like, if we're being like 100, if we're keeping it a buck, it's like, it's the rich versus poor in this situation. It's like 8 families versus 8 billion people. Like, just keeping it real. It's like not that many people versus a lot of people. It's not like right versus left. I hate when people say, oh, well, more Democrats or more Republicans do. Like, no, bro, it's 8 families versus 8 billion people. How we doing, Butterfly Lover? How we doing?
Use the word
Yeah.
class, talk about it. Rokon.
Get to the next. I want to see what the opposite side of the spectrum has to say about this.
Of the UK has reportedly been arrested.
Chandler Painter joins us now with the breaking details. Chandler.
Hey, Todd.
Bro, what are the odds that, like, he actually goes to jail? Like, he doesn't get a P. Diddy, like, lighthearted sentence. That they're like, you're going to go to jail for life, Prince Andrew. Like, what are the odds of that? That'd be crazy if they're just like, yeah, Prince Andrew, you're getting a life in prison sentence. Like, I'd be all for it, but still be crazy. Be like a first time for everything, but...
And Carly, so police say they took the brother of King Charles into custody on suspicion of misconduct in
Bro, she is so sick. Why is she on the air?
public office. Officers reportedly arrived at a
She needs that, like, stick you sniff that's seen on, like, TikTok ads.
Estate in eastern England earlier this morning to make the arrest of the former prince, who turns 66 years old today. Andrew is in custody and investigators are carrying out searches at addresses in Berkshire and Norfolk. Police releasing this statement without naming Andrew, saying, quote, "Following a thorough assessment, we have now opened an investigation into this allegation of misconduct in public office." We're still waiting, of course, more details on this breaking story, but this comes as after Andrew was stripped of his royal title over...
Bro, I wonder what the, heads up was. The royal family got this arrest. So they could, get away from him. Because if they arrested him while he was a royal, that would be, really, really bad for the royal family. So, I don't know. I feel like they got, a 6-month heads up, if we're being honest. They're we're investigating him. He's going to be arrested, but we're not going to tell him that until the last second. So, yeah. Prince Andrew's cooked. That's what I'm saying. He's cooked. He knows a lot. Hey, how we doing? Hey there. Or Freya. I don't know why I said hey there. Completely dyslexic with that. How we doing, Freya? But Prince Andrew's so cooked. He knows information about the Illuminati while being a PDF in prison. That's a crazy combination. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to insinuate anything, but that's a crazy combination to be in prison for being real. No matter where you're at, if you're a PDF in prison, that's high risk, low reward, basically. I almost said high reward. That's not high reward. But yeah. I don't know. Let's see what else we want to talk more about. Let's watch. I want to see what the Australians had to say.
On a Thursday, the reports are that Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew, has been arrested. Now, the suggestion is that police have arrived at the former prince's home. Now, this information is very fresh to us right now. It is the BBC who is making this reporting as we speak. But Andrew...
See, this guy got a teleprompter. Why couldn't CNN get a teleprompter? I don't know. It just seems kind of redundant to not get a teleprompter for your news anchor to sit there and go, yep, we got Prince Andrew getting arrested. Who is he again? He's the royal who got dismissed. I don't know. You just need a teleprompter.
Mountbatten Windsor, as he is to be known now, of course, the former Prince Andrew. All of the questions that have surrounded his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, all of the questions that have extended into potential domestic consequences that may be for him in the United Kingdom. Now, we will learn over the next hour exactly what has taken place, but 8 officers have arrived at his home in the past few minutes. They've arrived in 6 separate Metropolitan Police vehicles. Now, one of the accusations that was being levelled at the former Prince Andrew is that when he was the trade envoy, and he was for the best part of more than 10 years, he was representing the UK government. Now, obviously...
Bro, why is Sky News Australia the most boring way of talking about it? Let's just type in Prince Andrew, and we'll just let RNG take this stream. Let's see. Lenders reacted. Let's see.
It's just, I suppose, a sign of the world we live in, where power has no responsibility, no ethics, and I mean, he comes from a background of corruption, being above the law.
I think it's only because the public's probably put pressure on, and the media's put pressure on to have him questioned.
But the thing I don't get about that, sure they've put pressure on him, but they didn't even arrest him for being a PDF. They arrested him for divulging government secrets. I don't know. That just seems like a crazy thing to... Oh, god damn, my nose hurts. I don't know.
But he'll probably disappear to some country where he won't be extradited.
I'm a royalist myself. I do follow the royal family. I do support them. So hearing that from a member of the royal family is really, it's the last straw, isn't it, really?
What did bro say? I did not understand a word of that.
You go into hiding and get away with it. Yeah, so, no, that's all I've got to say, really. I'm pleased.
Well, okay. Londoners. I don't know. King Charles, okay.
This is a statement, Pierce, and I want to get your reaction from the King that we just read earlier, but now that we have you on. I've learned with the deepest concern and news about Andrew Batten Windsor, and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for—
Bro, imagine the viewership. Imagine the clip farming that could be done if Prince Andrew was on the stand and we had King Charles in the courtroom. We had like one of those British judges with the hair, and we were like, and he's like, order in the court, order in the court. Like, and like the crowd's going crazy for some reason. That would be a crazy way to clip farm this Epstein case. I don't know. Like, I could see it happening. I could see a lawyer making a career out of this case. Like, if he's defending Prince Andrew, I could see it. Like, I could see lawyers lined up to defend him, but the royal family's going to have their lawyers already. I don't know. But, like, I'm going to react to it. If it's on TV, I'm reacting to it. Even if it's in the middle of the night, we are waking up and we are reacting to it and we are clip farming.
for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all. What do you—
Yep. Let's get the PEDs in here, aka cough drops, because I talk a lot, so that didn't work. But yeah. Do we have any reactions? Let's see what Asmongold has to say. I'm just going to tune in to Asmongold for real quick. See what he has to say.
And so that's it. Andrew's Queen Elizabeth's favorite. Oh, okay. All right. Now it makes perfect sense. Of course he had him arrested. Imagine not be.
That's a crazy thing. He gets him arrested because he was his mother's favorite. That's crazy. Let's check out Twitter, see if anybody's had any clips of anything going on. Let's just free all this. His eyes never smile. God damn it. I saw this earlier. I'm like, that is a crazy, like, I don't know. Mr. Beast gets, like, granted, I'm not a big Mr. Beast fan. Not the best guy, I think so myself. But, I don't know. He gets a lot of scrutiny. You can't really control your eyes when you smile. Like, if Mr. Beast could fix that, I'm sure he could. But he does look like a psychopath, and when you look at his eyes, not gonna lie, but... Bro, the biggest criticism of him is his teeth. What is he talking about? Wait, what? People that authored... I can't reply to Mr. Beast? What do you... Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I guess we'll quote it. We'll just let it rip. I'd say your teeth get more criticism. Okay, bro, did no one... I should have waited to go live. Let's see. How has no one reacted to this yet? Like, everyone's just, like, going to the news. Let's see, royal family. There we go.
We've just heard from King Charles, as well as a statement right here that I want to read in full. A statement from His Majesty the King. I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I've said before, they have our full and whole...
One thing I never liked about news sources, like, from cable, is they say the same shit. They never, like, come up with, like, anything, like, unique. Like, they'll say, like, one unique thing, and you gotta listen to it for, like, a whole 5 minutes. But they can't, like, ever, like, come up with... I don't know. It's the same stories everywhere.
Hearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all. Charles R. Let me bring this to our royal computer, Robert Jobson. Just extraordinary, Robert.
really extraordinary. I mean, really, honestly, George, here is this is unprecedented. We're in historic moments that are happening before our eyes. I mean,
Bro, so I watch the news pretty much every day. I watch Fox News. But the one thing I will say about like these other news agencies, they gotta get some people who look just a little bit more put together. Like Fox News, you got the Fox News ladies who are like the church gals that got blonde hair, they look pretty, they got loads of makeup on. Don't know why that's necessary for news, but like it works. It makes it a little bit more enjoyable, but like I don't know. I think these other news like this guy's gotta be a little bit more put together. Like granted he's wearing a suit, he's got his hair slicked, but dude needs a little bit of a shave, he needs a little bit of a haircut. Like I don't know, just he needs to lose a little bit of weight. I don't know. Like I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me when you see people like they'll look like they just rolled out of bed or something, or like they just need something desperately done to them, and they're still on TV. I don't know. It's kind of a crazy thing, but
who could have imagined that statement from Buckingham Palace, where the king is talking about his brother, where the arrest took place this morning at 8 a.m. shortly before actually the Prime Minister had gone on air and said no one was above the law. You know, this was the home where the Queen Elizabeth, had her last final holiday. You know, this is a royal estate being raided by Thames Valley Police. This is an extraordinary moment.
bro, it's raided by a police station. That's embarrassing. Not even like the federal police. It's like just the good old boys going, man, look at this royal palace. Man, this is pretty cool. We could, man, this is cool in here.
Seismic, and we'll have to see how it plays out because people are talking at the moment, you know, about protocol and things like that, and what happens next. Well, this guy is actually still in the line of succession. That needs to just happen immediately and just dealt with. You know, you just cannot have this guy. Even the fact that, you know, we've got a court case that could follow, and we don't know what's going to happen next. But
why is there a royal family? For being honest, like I don't know. The easiest way we could deal with this is just not have a royal family. We could just not have a royal family, and then he won't be in succession. I don't know. But like, if you just, I don't know.
Technically, in the line of succession to the British
Succession,
throne.
okay.
It's just making a mockery, really, of this country, and I think that, I mean, this is truly, truly historic, and it's changing by the hour.
Like it's just straight up nostalgia for people to keep the royal family intact. Like sure they do some like charity work and stuff, but you got charities for that. Like you don't got like I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's necessary.
Clearly is. Is it going too far to say this is a threat to the monarchy?
Well, it's undoubtedly a threat to the monarchy. I mean, whether or not it's a threat to the overall existence of it, I mean, I think some people, many people, younger people included, will argue what is the point of an institution that's unelected when you've got criminality or potential criminality actually unfolding like this, and members of the royal family being arrested and cautioned and maybe cautioned, but arrested and cautioned and to give evidence under oath in an interview. It's shocking, but I think that what's clear here and what stands out is that Prince William and Catherine are very distant from this. If you remember the footage at the Duchess of Kent's funeral where Prince Andrew sidled up to Prince William, he looked decidedly uncomfortable, and he's made it clear through many sources that he was arguing that action should have been taken against Prince Andrew by the royal family, more decisive action by his grandmother, the Queen, and. There's a sense, really. I remember that he was at a bigger ceremony, the Garter ceremony. He refused to take part in it if Andrew took part in it. I think that with Andrew.
Okay. Let's see. What else can we look at? Let's see. Bro, it's kind of misleading what people are saying about this because they say over links to Jeffrey Epstein, like he's being arrested for like being like. I don't know, like something like he's being arrested for being a PDF because he's being arrested for like divulging like secrets. Like I guarantee, like granted that is being linked to Epstein, like because he told him secrets. But I don't know. It's not like I don't know, just not the same thing. Not the same thing. Like it's not like they finally. I don't know. I don't think it's justice because he's not going for. He probably get like a year in jail. Probably get like a year in jail and just get let off. But it's not like he's because misconduct. It's not like they're. I don't know.
Breaking news begins this hour. Law enforcement in England have arrested former Prince Andrew on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The disgraced royal family of King Charles is alleged to have shared confidential government documents with the notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
why are the documents the big, like, why is that the big, like, I need to learn how to talk. Like, that shouldn't be their main objective here, is to get them, like, granted, some jail time is better than no jail time, but it shouldn't be that hard to prove that Prince Andrew did stuff if he did do stuff. I don't know. Like, granted, this could be a route to, like, get information, but I don't know. Just, it doesn't seem like it should be that difficult. Like, what's the, prison sentence for, what would that be? Like, government misconduct, England. Oh, life imprisonment. I mean that's fine by me. Life imprisonment. Yeah, if he gets life imprisonment, that's fine by me.
You
but
are in the Faulkner focus.
maybe it's just a way to do it. I don't know. But like, we should add on some charges. That way he gets like life plus 30. I don't know. If he did it, allegedly.
Live pictures now, and that is Andrew's residence at Sandringham Castle, about 100 miles north of London. Police have been searching that property for hours. They are also now at his Windsor estate, which is about 50 miles west of London. Fox News legal editor Carrier Bond.
I would imagine the UK court is going to take into consideration, because it's going to hinge on how serious a breach of duty was this. Is the public trust threatened by what he did? Was there harm? And was this information, though, inherently confidential? And that will be an interesting, I think.
In October, King Charles stripped his younger brother of all of his royal titles. Today, King Charles offered his full support and cooperation in the investigation into Andrew.
But why is their hair so much?
Statement, King Charles said, "Let me state clearly, the law must take its course." Eric Shawn is on the story, developing still at this hour. Eric.
Hello, Harris. Well, it is a stunning development following the release of the documents in the Epstein scandal. The arrest of former Prince Andrew on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The younger brother of King Charles was taken into custody.
You think that would include him being a PDF, or just the files that he gave Epstein, because Epstein was like a spy for unknown countries apparently? You think it was just for the files? Okay.
At his home by Thames Valley Police after those revelations from the Jeffrey Epstein files released here in the U.S. Police previously said that they were assessing if those emails show Andrew giving Epstein inside information about government business and investment opportunities. They include details of Andrew's official trips and confidential briefings that he had while he served as Britain's trade envoy in 2010 and 2011. That would be a violation of the Government Secrets Act. Now, despite the arrest, Andrew's brother, King Charles, is keeping up a public schedule today. He attended a London fashion event today, and he said he does support the investigation. Quote, "I have learned with the deepest concern the news."
What does King Charles have to do with anything fashion? I don't know. Just side note, but
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. He has long been accused of sexual misconduct with underage girls provided by Epstein. He has always denied any wrongdoing. Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre, who wrote a book about it, and she committed suicide, sadly, in 2024. Well, she had said that Epstein had forced her to have sexual relations with Andrew when she was a minor. Her lawsuit against him was settled. Her family reacting to Andrew's arrest today by saying, quote, "Today our broken hearts have been lifted at the news that no one is above the law, not even royalty." Well, the arrest happens to come on Andrew's 66th birthday, and is just the latest fallout from this growing scandal. Already several prominent politicians and business people around the
do they have bail in England? Is there bail in England? We gotta find that out. Will Prince Andrew get... I can't type. Let's read some stuff. Whereas Prince Andrew, now that he's been on president's arrest? I don't know. Andrew can be kept in custody for 4 days at most. Okay. So dude's cooked. Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? Yeah, we'll watch.
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mudahar. It's a
I'll
good
just keep
day
on.
today. We've got the first Epstein arrest, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you heard me right. We've got a pretty huge arrest. Who do you think is busted, Muda? Well, ladies and gentlemen, to give you an idea, this is Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
I personally don't think it's that big of a breakthrough, because, like, I don't know. I don't believe it's going to lead to anything. Like, if they're, because they're not arrested for being a PDF, they're just saying misconduct, which includes him giving up information. Like, I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's still justice, but
This is a pretty huge deal, by the way, okay? This is the third child and second son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Now, this guy was born 19th February 1960, which is literally today. And, of course, on his birthday, he has been arrested, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, literally, you can see the Mercedes-Benzes, the unmarked cop cars, apparently outside his home, where, yes, they actually did arrest him. Now, of course, this is not a joke. This is not a shock. This is actually, it is quite a shock. But you can see right over here, right from the Thames Valley Police, they actually said they opened an investigation into the offense of misconduct in public office. So, as part of the investigation, literally the 19th of February, approximately 8 o'clock in the morning, they arrested a man in his 60s. So, we go back, just to clarify. He is, in fact, in his 60s, all right? Yeah, so this person was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office and are carried out searches at addresses.
imagine that it wasn't him. That was just some other random dude. That'd be a crazy fumble.
Berkshire and Norfolk. The man remains in police custody at this time. So they're not going to be naming the man as per national guidance. But also, remember, the case is now active, so case should be taken with any publication to avoid being in contempt of court. So they've applied all forms of care, I guess you could say, that the cops do. Now, obviously, look, while the U.S. DOJ is kind of pussyfooting about in trying to think of arresting somebody, it's actually great to see this happen. Like I say, the only reason that I would even, like, make this video or cover this even further is if something actually happened. Which in this case, it actually did happen. Somebody did end up
I
getting...
guess that's right. Like, I guess I said it earlier, but I guess some time is better than no time. I don't know. I don't know. It's just hard to see, like, it resulting from anything. Like, I just can't see Andrew actually going to jail. I can see them putting up, like a show, basically, put him on trial, then them saying, like, something stupid, like he's not guilty or something. Or, like, him being under house arrest because he's a royal, or he would get special treatment in a prison. I don't know. I really don't think, like, one person is, like, I don't know. If it's as deep as they make it sound, like, I think it should be, like, more than just Prince Andrew getting arrested. Like, I don't think they should have a scapegoat in Prince Andrew. I think they should have much more than just Prince Andrew getting arrested. I don't know.
Arrested, and it wasn't some Joe
How doing,
Schmo,
Mia?
right, who was like some tertiary enterprise in the Epstein thing that they could throw under the bus, they could arrest and make it look like a bigger deal. I mean, this is this is a prince. This is a huge person involved in the story. So obviously I looked into the charge myself over here at cts.gov.uk. You can do this yourself. Misconduct in public office. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just going to read the actual first paragraph to you. Misconduct in public office is a common law offense that can only be tried on indictment. It carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. The offense concerns serious willful abuse or neglect of the power or responsibilities of the public office held. Now, I don't think that they're arresting him on, like, sex assault charges or, like, human trafficking charges. I think those might be a little bit more difficult to prove. I think because of his unique position, and for anybody that doesn't know, Prince Andrew, from my understanding, was actually he was the UK Special Representative on Trade and Investment. And again, the big charge for this actually comes from him dealing with confidential information with people like Jeffrey Epstein while he was the, UK representative. Which, as you can imagine, sharing confidential information with somebody that you're not supposed to should, in theory, get you sent to prison. So that's the charge they kind of are going on, and I think that's probably the charge they're going to because it's the easiest to stick. Not to say that, they're probably not going to look into other aspects of the story. I think they will. There's a lot to go after. But I think because of the new Epstein drop that happened, they were able...
Like, I don't know. I'm starting to give up on the Epstein files as far as them actually arresting people for them being a PDF. Like, I don't know. I can't really... I don't know. I'm just starting to give up on the situation. It just doesn't seem like... It seems like it'd be too good to be true that he's going to get life in prison. I don't know. It just seems like... Because they keep on saying no one's above the law, but, like, I don't know. Like, we've yet to see anyone from, like, anything else get arrested anywhere else in the world. I don't know.
able to identify
How you doing,
this
Sonny?
and say, okay, yeah, this is something that we can go after. And it only really came because of the latest 3 million file drop that came out. So to give you an idea of what was actually coming from here, what exact files, for instance, from the Duke to Jeffrey Epstein, came the Southeast Asia visit report. So here you got a bunch of attachments, which are in these documents over here. So it's like, sir, please find attached the visit reports from Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Shenzhen in relation to your recent visit. You are not supposed to be fucking sharing these things, okay? But the fact that these are being shared obviously is going to piss off the United Kingdom. So Epstein was using his connections with like some of the most top people in the world to, again, literally make more money. He was getting more investment.
So that's how he got his money. He was just like a spy for foreign intelligence. I don't know, but
I guess you could say. I guess you could say he was getting more information than the rest of his like competition, so to speak, in this game, and he was only able to get that because he was leveraging his connections with, you know, the fucking prince of the United Kingdom, right? Not a small connection, mind you. So again, there are actual other cases too involved into this. The reason we know about their connection is you can see that, you know, literally from the Epstein files, there was actually like Epstein and, you know, his fucking muse sitting around in Balmoral, again in Scotland. You know, there are photos of these people together in places that they were only able to visit because of their connections, you know, such as Prince Andrew. So again, to go further into it, Prince Andrew is not somebody that is, I guess you could say, totally squeaky clean. There have been photos with him and Virginia Joffrey, obviously, as you can see pictured right over here. And, you know, to further claim that this is real, there's actually been drafts written up by Ghislaine Maxwell all the way to Jeffrey Epstein. Again, these are drafts. So you can see the number EFTA 0238-3976. Look it up yourself, read it for yourself. In this draft, they talk about how her, Alan Dershowitz, Prince Andrew have been subject to, over the last week, has become intolerable and breaches any justifiable sense of natural justice. If this bitch knew what natural justice was and hit her in the face, all right, that'd be a day worth seeing. I have never been engaged in any misconduct, as is alleged by, and again, the blank in this case is Virginia Joffrey, from my understanding. I have never abused anyone, yada, 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 yada. And of course, obviously in this, they do mention the connection over here to, you know, Prince Andrew. But again, I think the UK is more interested on that confidential, you know, information charge, because I think it's the most...
Bro, you can't prove that he's, like, abuse of power by, like, being a PDF, and the only reason he's, like, he's using his role as a prince to be a PDF. Like, I don't know, you think it'd be pretty easy to prove that, but I don't know. Like, they'd be able to prove that he's, like, more than him just sharing documents. Like, that's just such a stupid thing to, like... Because he's going to get, like, a year in prison, but I don't know.
Easiest to prove, and it's the one that carries genuinely one of the most harshest penalties. Now, for all the people that say nothing ever happens, I can't really say the same over here. I think, you know, for people like Virginia Joffrey, who unfortunately isn't with us anymore because she died by taking her own life in April 2025, you know, there's victims in the story that, you know, have long left the mortal plane. They are, you know, currently out. They are, you know, living, hopefully, their best life in the afterlife. But for the people here on planet Earth who felt like, hey, there's nothing that's going to happen from this, I think it's huge to see an arrest happen, especially on somebody. Again, what's worse about all of this is seeing your power not only stripped away, but I think when they put the cuffs on you and they take you away to a prison cell or a jail cell, that comes, you know, with such harsh embarrassment, such harsh... It's what they say is a punishment.
But, like, granted, like, I don't know. Like, you take a look at all the politicians in America who get arrested, they just vibe and get themselves out of it. And that happens in other countries, too. Like, just because someone gets arrested doesn't mean they're going to go to jail for a long, long time. Like, you see how many people get arrested and they just don't go to jail. I don't know. I don't know. Till we see, like, 5 to 10 arrests, I'm not gonna be happy.
In of itself. So to see people like, again, you know, the prince over here in the situation actually getting arrested, even again if it's for sharing confidential information and not, it's a huge deal. It's a big deal because it shows that at least, even if it's not, I guess, in the United States, which is, again, a punch in the gut, you would expect that justice should be doled out here as if it was, you know, just candy. But over in the other parts of the world where there's investigations take...
But, like, if it's not a big deal in America, it's, like, not going to be, I don't know. Like, if something needs to be changed, you have to be able to change it in America, because America is just the biggest influence on, like, everything. I don't know. America kind of controls everything, so you might as well work on getting it changed in America first. But
place, I mean, remember the last time I talked about it, there were, you know, countries that were raising investigations, but in this case, it seems like the UK is sort of the first, you know, I guess you could say dam-breaking moment where somebody has actually been arrested in the situation. So yeah, you know, Prince Andrew's been arrested. Whether this goes somewhere or not, you will only find out as time goes on, because you can imagine arrests, the prosecution, it does take its time. But I do think that because of how massive the story already is, I mean, it's a fucking prince getting arrested, they're going to take their time. They're going to make sure that they get this right. Again, law enforcement agencies, when they get this involved, I think that they want to make an example of somebody and they don't want to have egg on their face, so they're going to make sure that this stuff sticks. They're going to investigate it. Again, just the arrest in itself is a big deal. Okay, the fact that this guy had the handcuffs, the guy was taken out of his home at 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, instead of telling the cops to screw off with his power and connections, is a huge deal. It shows that no matter who you are, no matter how big you are, no matter how connected you are, the rule of law applies equally to everyone, right? We've all heard of the rule of law, right? Nobody is above the law. So in this case, it's good to see somebody actually getting arrested, and not just Joe Schmo. Again, this is the prince in the United Kingdom actually getting arrested. And again, that's a huge deal to see. It is something that, everyone in the world is going to talk about, something that everybody's going to chat about, because it's just that big of a deal. Arguably, it's probably one of the highest profile arrests we're actually going to see regarding the Epstein stuff. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Epstein, an arrest actually happened. Not just a small arrest, mind you, an arrest involving a former prince. And again, may I remind you,
Mel Gibson. This guy had a crazy crash out. And it turns out that he was right about a few things, huh? He was right about maybe more than a few things, as a matter of fact. I find that to be interesting. That's crazy. Wow, what are the odds of that?
Mel Gibson's been trying to warn everyone about the elites for years, and in particular Hollywood.
What is the? I'm gonna look up the actual video. I don't want to watch Asmongold watch a video. Let's watch this one.
Mel Gibson's been trying to warn everyone about the elites for years, and in particular Hollywood itself.
Believe me, I did a lot of research on it, and according to all the research, it was way worse than that.
No matter how strong you are going to be affected by this place, and you'll resent it for a little while, then you have to let it go. Otherwise, you'll eat yourself alive here. And I think it takes that kind of cockroach resilience to survive in this town.
Yet, nobody listened. He was just made out to be a crazy man. But today, people are finally waking up to what he saw 20 years ago. And
I remember that, like, when Mel Gibson was, like, blacklisted because, like, they just thought he was, like, insane. They thought he was, like, anti-Semitic and stuff just because he didn't like Hollywood. I'm like, that is crazy.
The message he gave us would eventually cost him his life.
You need a bat in the side of the head. If you get by a pack of it'll be your fault.
Yet, back in the 1980s, Gibson was so successful, he was operating at a level where studios would greenlight whatever he wanted. In 1996, Braveheart swept the Oscars, 5 wins including Best Picture and Best Director. Gibson stood on that stage and called himself a fiscal imbecile.
And they had no problem with giving the reins to a fiscal imbecile. You know, this takes real courage.
And everyone laughed because he made them all very rich. But if you were paying attention around then, there were signs he saw Hollywood very differently than most people who'd made it to his level. In 1998, Playboy did an interview, and buried in all the usual promotional stuff about whatever film he was selling, he said something that did raise some eyebrows. He talked about a producer, but he wouldn't name him, whose entire philosophy about women on film was this.
He says, women on film, either naked or dead.
That's crazy. That's disturbing. That's disturbing that there's actually, like, I believe him when he says that, because, like, you just take a look at, like, the way people actually work in Hollywood. It's disturbing, but yeah.
Both is better.
Then he kept on going.
You know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on, because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, you know, Weird Town, you know, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them. And then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. And then you find out later on the track that you were exactly on track.
That must be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, how do I explain it? Because I've gone crazy before with my schizophrenia, but, like, I can't even imagine what it's like to be, like, vindicated because you're not crazy. That'd be a weird feeling.
With a lot of this stuff.
They ask him about the social contract in Hollywood, and Gibson explains.
You can't get mad. You can't let it get you. Because you have to make a deal with everyone else, and it's almost unspoken, that you are going to be f***ed over at some point by people who you may have done something nice for.
He also tells us a real story.
I believe that people are like, you're going to get fucked over by people eventually in Hollywood, because, like, everyone does. Like, I don't know, they just do. I don't know why that's such a crazy thing to say for him to say that, but yeah.
About meeting Christopher Walken on a New York rooftop, which he's obviously dramatizing, but if you don't take it at face value, it does tell you something about the almost otherworldly nature of Hollywood from the outsider's perspective.
No, he came to see me on a rooftop in New York. I said, hey, can I talk to you? And he said, sure. He floated in, sideways, through a crowd of people. He was wearing black. And it was like one of those old vampire movies where they don't walk, but they glide.
Mm.
And he was a dancer, you know, so he has
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
you know, graceful.
Yeah.
And my assistant was there, and he left because he couldn't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
The air had turned cold.
This was when Gibson was in the spotlight 24/7, and he was already letting on about some of the industry's practices. He was trying to articulate something that had remained unspoken.
Bro, I wonder, but like, everyone called him crazy after this interview, but like, I wonder if someone were to go back in time and talk like they do now about conspiracies, how quick would they get thrown in an insane asylum in the 90s? That'd be like something interesting I'd like to see. But
his reputation was very much a lovable rogue or a loose cannon, so nobody really paid attention at the time. He was also making everyone way too rich for them to bother with what he was saying in magazine interviews. But maybe he could see it more clearly because he wasn't made in Hollywood the way most people at his level were. He wasn't some Nepo or Hollywood adjacent. His family moved from New York to Australia when he was just 12 after his dad won a workplace injury settlement. He had no connections and no industry parents carefully managing his rise. He studied acting because his sister filled out the application without telling him. Then Mad Max turned him into a global star before he even learned how the system truly functioned. Mad Max came in clutch, and it happened in the most Mel Gibson way ever. He'd been in a bar fight the day before the interview he didn't even want to go to, and his face was all bruised and swollen. He looked like the perfect post-apocalyptic tough guy, and not long after, he got the job. Mad Max absolutely smashed the box office, and he became a star. Relocating to Hollywood was just the next logical step. So the peculiar thing here is that by the time he showed up in LA for the film Lethal Weapon, he was already famous. That matters because he didn't owe anyone. He didn't have to spend years figuring out which executives to flatter or when to...
I wonder when they're going to get to the Passion of the Christ. That's the movie I like by Mel Gibson.
Shut up and smile. Most people who make
Bro, what picture is this? This has to be AI.
To Gibson's level learned early that you treat the industry like
I didn't even think about that when I just paused it thinking it was like some guy, but like it's just straight up Epstein in like a military uniform with Maxwell and like what is this picture?
Smile. Most people who make it to Gibson's level learned early that you treat the industry like a religion. You never forget that access requires submission. Gibson missed that entire education. But he did have some very real personal problems that began to unravel. His drinking is getting worse, his marriage is falling apart, his behavior is bordering on too eccentric, posing a risk for those around him. He also began making a name for himself as a homophobe and anti-Semite after a series of drunk conversations. And then he decides he's going to make a movie that's basically designed to detonate every relationship he has in Hollywood. I'm of course talking about The Passion of the Christ.
My comment did not age well. Saying this was my favorite movie about him.
He was planning a film about Jesus getting tortured, initially planning to shoot it entirely in Aramaic and Latin, dead languages that nobody can really understand. He didn't even want subtitles for it. So he starts taking meetings, Fox, Universal, Warner Bros, Disney, every major studio, 7 in total, and none are interested whatsoever. Part of it is about the commercial concern, but there's something else making studios nervous before he's even shot.
It's a lot more than Jesus just being tortured. It's about like Jesus, but I don't know.
Frame. The Anti-Defamation League, an American charity targeting anti-Semites, gets hold of an early script and immediately starts raising the alarm. The national director of the Anti-Defamation League said, quote, "By all appearances, Mr. Gibson has moved ahead with his plans to base his film based on the traditional Passion Play narrative that blames Jews for the killing of Jesus. For those who will see this film, the poisonous accusation that the Jews were responsible for the killing of Jesus will be unambiguous and clear." Gibson...
I'm just saying, like, a lot of people would think that, not just Mel Gibson.
He's already got baggage here. His father was a Holocaust denier, and when pressured, he said that my dad taught me my faith and I believe what he taught me. The man never lied to me in his life. So the criticism starts building. New York Times critic Frank Rich questions whether the film could fuel anti-Semitism. Gibson's response? He tells the New Yorker, "I want to kill him. I want his intestines on a stick. I want to kill his dog." This man is kind of...
That's a crazy statement to make. They want to kill his dog. God, no wonder people just were like, "No, we have had enough of Mel Gibson."
Losing control, and every studio is watching it build into a PR nightmare. The funding dries up rapidly after that, and he practically becomes a laughingstock. He's putting his entire reputation in Hollywood on this movie. South Park then catches the...
They're coming... I can't pause on the
zeitgeist with
screen.
The Passion of the Jew. Stan and Kenny see the film, hate it, call it a snuff film, and track down Gibson for a refund. Their version of Gibson is completely unhinged, a masochistic lunatic running around shooting guns and literally defecating on people. Gibson's response at the time was defiance. He self-finances the entire production, remortgaging property, coming up with $45 million out of his own pocket. If this bombs, he's then personally destroyed. So the film opens on Ash Wednesday 2004. Critics are split. There are massive protests outside theaters, but also massive lines of people wanting to see it.
I remember it being popular. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, I was too young, but I remember people liking it. But
goes on to gross $83 million
That's what
in
I'm
its
saying.
opening weekend, and goes on to make $612 million worldwide, the highest grossing R-rated film at the time. Gibson then personally walks away with somewhere between $400 and $475
That's a lot of
million.
money. That's a lot of
So
money.
from the industry's perspective, he has now made one of the most profitable
They should
films
have
in
invested it in they should have just grit their teeth and invested with him.
history, even after every major studio rejected it entirely on his own terms. On the Joe Rogan Experience, Gibson talked about how turbulent this was.
That was a crazy movie because it was a great movie, but it seemed like there was resistance to that movie.
Oh yeah, no, there was
Which I thought was very strange. There was like Hollywood resistance to that movie. Like people didn't like that you were making it. It seemed like.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Bro, I wonder what's the what am I trying to think of? The link between like Epstein and like him being a like cult leader that has to be like Satanist to like this. I don't know. Cuz like you have to think about like Epstein and his like little cult that was going on. Like they're Satanists or devil worshippers or whatever. Like they obviously controlled a lot of Hollywood and stuff like that. So I don't know. Just seems like that would have had been linked at some point.
There's a lot of opposition to it, and I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're gonna get people going, because
of course,
it's big subject matter.
He even said how Hollywood was stunned by him walking around the system and scoring a massive hit without going through the usual channels.
And there was this kind of thing in the town. They said, "Did anyone just see that? Anyone just see what that guy did? Can't let that guy do that again." You know, because it sort of walked around the entire system.
It was a well-received podcast because Gibson, for all his woes, came across as more down-to-earth than your average massive star.
He does, like, I did watch that podcast that podcast episode when it came out, and he doesn't seem like he's actually that crazy. Like, sure, he's like he's got a lot of kind of like eccentric beliefs, but like, I don't know, he's not even more eccentric than like your average conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I don't know. He just doesn't seem like that bad of a guy in my opinion. But yeah, I used to not believe in religion. That I had a really bad day and couldn't stop thinking of a verse. It changed my life view 100%. I definitely would. I agree with that. So like I don't know. I've had some certain life experiences that have really changed my perspective on religion. Because I was religious when I was a kid, then fell out of it, then got back into religion because of some things. And like ever since I opened up my eyes to Christianity, Protestant Christianity to be exact, it really it's weird how much you can see like it go on in our world, like it changes your view on like so many different things, because like you see it and you're just like, man, this applies to a lot of life. Because even if you take it all at face value, like it's just a battle between good and evil, and you're just trying to become the best person possible. And I can't find any faults with the Christian religion, because like all the faults people talk about with Christianity, it's usually man ruining that. Like it's not usually the Bible. It's not actually the Bible doing it. Like the Bible, I don't know. It's usually man ruining the Bible's interpretation, like their interpretation from the Bible. I don't know. Like everything I'm reading the entire Bible right now, and just everything I've read seems to be fine. But I don't know. That's why I don't understand like why. Because I don't personally think like when people talk about like the Judaism being like the world, like the Illuminati. I don't think they are the Illuminati. Like Israel, the country is the Illuminati. I think it would be like a cult. It would be like some other offshoot of them. Like I thank you for the follow, boy. But like I don't know. I feel like it would be some other like offshoot cult, like how there's cults in Christianity or like whatever. religion you want to talk about, there's going to be a cult form of it. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be the actual country that's like running this stuff. I think it's going to be like Epstein, because Epstein was doing like devil worshiping. So like whatever he was doing, that's probably what it was that Illuminati is basically doing. And like, I don't know, I joke about the Illuminati. I kind of don't think it's like real, because there's just the amount of preparation you would have to do in order to be the Illuminati. Like, sure, Hollywood is kind of working together, but they're just wanting to make money. But I don't know.
Comments observed that he was holding back on topics that people wouldn't be prepared to hear about. The passion ultimately took its toll on Gibson, and 2 years later, everything fell apart. In 2006, he got pulled over drunk in Malibu, and during the arrest, he goes on this anti-Semitic rant to the deputy, which leads...
Not a good look. Not a good look.
Gibson then apologized and admits he's an alcoholic, calling his behavior despicable. He pleaded no contest to misdemeanor DUI, received 3 years probation, and immediately pushed out carefully worded apologies through his publicist.
The court says the 53-year-old Gibson successfully completed terms of his 3-year probation. Gibson was arrested for driving drunk in Malibu in July of 2006, and during the arrest, the actor-director made derogatory comments about Jews and women, tried to escape, and repeatedly threatened the arresting deputy.
While also admitting to being an alcoholic for decades.
Because you're dealing with a sort of a malady of the soul.
But like, we can't, just because he's an alcoholic, we can't just like, I don't know, we can't just like cast him out from society because he's an alcoholic, because like so many people are alcoholics. I don't think that should be like a defining moment in Mel Gibson because he's an alcoholic. I don't know.
Obsession of the mind and a physical allergy. And some people need a big tap on the shoulder. In my case, public humiliation on a global scale seems to be what was required.
But it was all just damage limitation, and the industry's response is instant and total. To everyone who criticized his views, this DUI and his unsavory rant that accompanied it was just the smoking gun. Apocalypto, a film he directed and one of his best, was already in post-production, and its release was pushed back to avoid negative press. But after that, the upper echelons of Hollywood were closing ranks. Soon after, Ari Emanuel, one of the most powerful agents in the industry, publishes an open letter calling for everyone to boycott Gibson. Quote, Hollywood should not do business with Mel Gibson until he demonstrates a real understanding of the harm he has caused. Being drunk doesn't make you say things you don't believe. It makes you say things you already believe. If this industry looks the other way, it sends a message that success excuses hate. And then things got worse. In July of 2010, Mel Gibson then found himself...
I don't know, but like, I don't know. Like, people say bad things about, like, all in Hollywood, say bad things about all, like, it's not good to say anti-Semitic things, but, like, people say bad things about everyone else, and people just think it's fine, but I don't know. Say bad things about white people, they say racist things about other people, I don't know. And people are just like, whatever. I'm like, I don't know.
Himself at the center of another major scandal when audio recordings surfaced from a phone call with his then partner. In the recordings, Gibson makes an explicitly racist remark suggesting that if she was assaulted, it would be somehow her fault. In the same conversation, he's also heard threatening to burn down her house while she was inside of it.
Yeah, that's a little bit worse, if we're being honest. I would take that as a little bit worse than saying something about Jewish people. I don't know, I just would.
And apparently there were actually some
to kill
35
somebody, that's
minutes
a
of
little bit worse.
deranged phone calls that leaked to the press in total.
I don't work around in tight clothes. I stay at home for most of the time.
Public, and it's an embarrassment to me. You look like a bitch on heat, and if you get by a pack of it'll be your fault, all right? Because you provoked it. A reporter.
Yeah, that's a little bit worse. Not gonna lie, that's something we should not like him for. Not as other I don't know. Not very good comments, but.
From the wetback, okay? You need a pat my side of the head. All right? How about that? I'm trying to help you. First on you. You understand that? Because I'm people of it. You understand?
The fact that she recorded all of this says a lot, and as the situation escalated, he was legally barred from coming near her or their daughter under a domestic violence-related restraining order. Those 6 years of major scandals shattered Mel Gibson's career. Nobody would touch him. From 2006 to 2016, Mel Gibson appeared in one film called The Edge of Darkness, a film where he plays a man who discovers that powerful institutions are conspiring to cover up crimes, and he's the lone truth seeker willing to die to expose them. Whether intentional or not, it was a perfect mirror to how Gibson saw himself. Around that time, accusations of game playing surrounding Gibson's exile from Hollywood began to surface too. When Ari Emanuel published a letter demanding that Gibson would be expelled from Hollywood, he was represented by Ed Lamato at ICM. So Emanuel was taking this principled stand while actually
But like, the thing I'm thinking about is, like, granted, none of these things are good. Like, I doubt that's the reason they casted him out of Hollywood. I really doubt the reason they casted him out of Hollywood is because he said these things about his girlfriend or whatever, or his wife or whoever she was. Because, like, you see that all the time in Hollywood. You see them doing that kind of stuff all the time, and they're fine. It's because I don't know.
rival's agency's biggest star. In 2009, Lamato moves to William Morris, bringing Gibson with him and the agency's merge. Suddenly, Gibson is now Emmanuel's client through that same veteran agent. So does Emmanuel drop him a principal? No, he keeps him quietly on the books and nobody says anything about the contradiction until he was booted from the books again following the episode between him and his wife. While Gibson was slinking around the fringes of Hollywood. In 2007, Robert Downey Jr. stood up for him, and this was when things began to turn around.
I humbly ask that you join me unless you are completely without sin, in which case you picked the wrong industry. In forgiving my friend his trespasses, offering him the same clean slate you have me, and allowing him to continue his great and ongoing contribution to our collective art without shame.
Jodie Foster and Whoopi Goldberg also publicly defended him. Whoopi said that he spent many days with her kids and that he categorically wasn't racist.
But I know Mel, and I know he's not a racist. Oh, really? Yeah, I do. But I can't sit and say that he's a racist, having spent time with him in my house with my kids. I can't say it.
He was going through intense therapy at the time and seemed very keen to rehabilitate himself and his public image. But Robert Downey Jr.'s point hits on an extremely important point about the industry, bringing us right back to Gibson's own comments from 1998, involving the producer who wanted women either naked or dead. This is now widely suspected to refer to Harvey Weinstein, 20 years before this became public. While the wheels are coming off Gibson's career, Weinstein is operating openly. Allegations followed him for years. People like Tarantino surrounded him. There were whispers at parties, jokes about it at award shows, and shockingly acknowledged behind closed doors. And yet, nothing happened. Courtney Love makes a joke about him in 2005.
Do you have any advice for a young girl moving to Hollywood? Okay, Harvey Weinstein likes to do a private party in the Four Seasons.
And this joke effectively blacklisted her from Hollywood. Weinstein kept working until 2017, until 80 women came forward. Rose McGowan helped expose his decades of abuse and was virtually blacklisted by Hollywood in the aftermath. But he's just...
Yeah, what? I'm live, but... Wait, what's up? You'll be back? Okay. Can't exactly pause the live stream, but... Yeah, I'm on camera. I probably... Are you going to the store?
I have to go pick up a prescription at Safeway, but I'm going to Fred Meyer later.
Okay. I'm going to stop streaming. I think.